Welcome to Vaishya IAS. So we'll be continuing with the Plums series of polity, governance and schemes today. Okay, so if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing this channel so that you will be getting daily free updates on UPSC. And if you're looking for a good quality test series, then you can contact the number which is given on the screen 7200681675. So let's move on to the first question. The first question reads, the structural part of Indian Constitution is derived from, and the options are A. American Constitution, B. British Constitution, C. Government of India Act 1935, and D. None of these. So if you see the previous year question papers, these kind of questions are very frequent. Okay, so every year they will be asking some questions related to the evolution of constitution, like you're having some acts, no, Indian Councils Act, then Government of India Act, all those act and provisions, that becomes very important. Every year you will be getting one question, so that's a sure question and don't lose this. Okay, so if you are not aware of this, please go and revise these topics. Okay, so here in this case, it's a simple question actually. You have already heard that the Indian Constitution, it has been heavily borrowed from the Government of India Act 1935. So it has been the broad framework upon which our constitution is based. Okay, so many of the provisions are borrowed from that. So that is the meaning of this structural part. It is nothing but the skeleton of the constitution, the framework upon which the constitution is based. Okay, so the answer comes out to be C, Government of India Act. Okay, so if you look at the provisions, you can see that Government of India Act, it actually provided for the federal scheme of constitution, then judiciary, governor system, emergency powers, public service commission. Okay, so all these are provided in 1935 Government of India Act. Okay, second question reads, consider the following. First, absence of external constraints on an individual. Second reads, availability of adequate material resources for individual development. And third reads, opportunity to participate in the decision making process. And the question is asking about which of the above is or are based on the principle of positive liberty. Now, these kind of conceptual questions are also important. Okay, every year they'll be asking some concept based questions. Okay, the problem with these kind of questions is that the options or the statements are somewhat similar. Okay, you can't make a distinction between the statements given. So they'll be asking out of the following, which is the best definition for the word state. Then out of the following, which of the best defines the soul of the term constitution? What is constitutionalism? Okay, like that they'll be picking up some concepts and they'll be asking you to answer that. Okay, so you won't be easily able to demarcate the statements and find out a distinction between the statements given. So you have to always go with elimination method in these kind of questions. Every year they'll be asking these questions, but if you are skimming through the statements, any point of at any point you'll be getting some hint. Okay, this option can be eliminated, like that you'll be getting some hints if you read it 2 or 3 times. Okay, so look at this question. It is asking about positive liberty. Now there is positive liberty and negative liberty concept. Okay, so both you have to be very aware of. So if you look at the first statement, absence of external constraints on an individual. So on the first read itself, it seems like illogical. How can it be possible? Absence of external constraints. If we are not constrained by anything, if we are not limited by anything, then everyone will be free to do whatever they wish. So that is not a kind of provision that we need, and that is not a kind of provision that a constitution would give. So you can eliminate one. Then come to the second statement, availability of adequate material resources for the individual development. Yes, this makes sense, and this is actually resonating with the question asked, positive liberty and material resources. So it is the duty of government to provide adequate material resources. If it is not there, what would happen? People will be driven into poverty, unemployment, and you won't be having enough freedom for your individual development. So it is actually resonating with the positive liberty, and it is related to the question asked. Then come to the third, opportunity to participate in the decision making process. Yes, this also makes sense. So the answer comes out to be 2 and 3 only. You can eliminate one. On eliminating one itself, you will reach at the answer 2 and 3 only. Now come to the next question. Consider the following statements. First, ordinance. Second, bylaws. Third, rules and regulations. Fourth, customs. So which of the above are included in the scope of law as per article number 13? So this article is also important if you are learning fundamental rights in that chapter. The chapter itself is starting with this article 12, 13, etc. Okay, so whenever you are learning fundamental rights, parallelly you have to cover this also. Okay, so no, don't neglect it. It is important. Questions like this can be framed from the exam perspective. Okay, so article number 13. See, when you are going through any of the articles, you have to underline the keywords given in the article. That will be handy for you at the time of revision. So if you look at the article number 13, the scope of law or the definition of law, it has been given a wider connotation. Okay, so in that sense, it will include not only the laws made by parliament or state legislature, but also the ordinance, bylaws, rules, regulations, and even customs. Many students, they'll eliminate the option number 4 since it's customs. They'll think that, oh, customs, it won't be covered in this article number 13 or the law. How can a custom become a law? Okay, so it is not true. Actually, customs are also stated in the scope of law under article 13. So if you see, it is stated like non-legislative sources of law are also there, and in this non-legislative sources of law, you can see that any custom or usage which is having a force of law. Okay, so that actually comes under article 13. So in this question, all the options given are correct, or all the statements given are correct. So you can go with option number D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. All are covered. Okay, so no, please note this point. Customs are also covered in article number 13. Now come to the next question. Which of the following is or are mandated under Right to Education Act 2009? And the options given, sorry, it's not options, it is statement. Okay, so the first statement is 25% of seats in private schools to be reserved for the children belonging to economically weaker sections. And the second reads, school management committee with 50% members being women or parents of unprivileged children. Third reads, the right to completion of elementary education and completion certificate. So if you look at the provisions, see, all the important schemes, there are numerous schemes which you will see at the end of the preparation time. Okay, so just before the prelims, that as you approach the prelims, in your hand you'll be having a lot of schemes and lot of provisions. So what you can do is the important provisions of important schemes, that will do. Okay, otherwise if you are going behind the schemes, it is not going to help you anyway, because all those are factual information. So what you can do is you can learn some important schemes and important provisions. 3 or 4 provisions you can learn, and that you can revise. Other things you have to do with elimination, that is only going to help you. Okay, so here this is an important scheme, and the first statement given is a standard fact. It is a main fact or main provision given in this act, so that you have to be aware. And here in the first statement, no, you can't apply elimination. Okay, there is no scope for elimination, so first statement is correct and it should be in the answer. So the option number B is eliminated. It is not there because it is 2 and 3. Then come to the second statement. School management committee with 50% members being women or parents of unprivileged children. Okay, so even if you don't know this statement, you can actually connect with the question asked. It is Right to Education Act 2009. In the first place, why would government have taken such a step to provide education provisions to the disadvantaged sections? So if the government actually wants to fulfill the objective behind this act, then this should be a correct statement. Okay, so school management committee with 50% members being women or parents. Okay, women, they are also a disadvantaged section, and the parents of unprivileged children, they are also disadvantaged children section. Okay, so the guardians of the unprivileged children, actually this act is also meant for them only. So this second statement, it is actually relating, or it is actually syncing with the question being asked. Okay, so actually you can consider this as correct statement. So you can't fix the answer. Let's assume that second is correct. So in which of the options 2 is present? B and D. So our action B, A and D. Okay, so we can, as of now, we can consider 2 as correct only. Then come to the third statement. right to completion of elementary education and completion certificate. Okay, so this is a factual, this is a simple kind of statement, nothing fishy is given. Okay, it is written in a simple language also. So usually UPSC won't trick you in such statements. There is nothing, you can't find anything wrong here. So actually since it's a simple statement, you can go with 3 also. Okay, so 2 and 3 comes out to be correct only. Okay, so the correct statement comes out to be 1, 2 and 3. Okay, this is how you have to attempt scheme based questions and some difficult questions. With practice you will be getting accustomed to that. Okay, so you have to take the previous year question papers and you have to practice more, then only you can actually relate these kind of things. Okay, now come to the next question. Consider the following statements. First statement reads, the rule of law under article number 14 is part of basic structure and cannot be amended by the parliament. Second reads, the rule of equality before law is an absolute right. Third reads, any law made by the state to implement the directive principles contained in article number 39 cannot be violative of article number 14. Okay, so these are fairly statements which is given as such in Lakshmikant only. So if you look at the first statement, rule of law under article number 14, it is a basic structure. So what you can do is basic structure, the provisions with regard to basic structure, it is actually evolved with time. Okay, whenever judiciary comes up with a new case or it is handling a new case, it comes up with more provisions, and provisions keep on getting added to the basic structure doctrine. Okay, so there is a list of provisions which are part of basic structure doctrine. What you can do is you can take a sheet of paper and list down of all those features which are coming under the basic structure doctrine. Okay, so it is, since it's an important topic, question can be asked. Okay, indirectly or directly question can come from this portion. So rule of law, it was declared as a basic structure doctrine in the famous case Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan case. So in this case only Supreme Court has held that rule of law is coming under the basic structure doctrine. Okay, so it cannot be amended by the parliament. All those which are part of basic structure cannot be amended. That is a common sense. Okay, so first statement should be correct. So our answer should be A or D. Okay, so B and C is eliminated. Now come to the second statement. The rule of equality before law is an absolute right. So logically you have to think, it can it be true? So in constitution, in our constitution, if you take a glance at the constitution, you can see that even in the in most of the provisions, there will be exceptions. Okay, so there will be loopholes. Okay, other than some rare provisions like article 17 untouchability and all, it is an absolute right. Okay, so other than that, rarely only you can see this absoluteness in the provisions given by the constitution. So can rule of equality be an absolute right? If it were so, will then we won't be having provisions like reservations and all. Okay, so second statement, logically it is not correct. Okay, so you can eliminate 2. So on eliminating 2, you are eliminating A option. Okay, so you can reach the answer directly, that is D1 only. Okay, so you don't have to look at the third statement even. Okay, so whenever you're getting questions, as far as possible, you go with elimination technique. That will be helping you immensely. Okay, that's the end of today's session. So we'll meet in the next week in the next episode. Until then, stay tuned. Thank you.